Effective communication is the cornerstone of success in every area of life, personal, professional, and beyond. Yet, it's a skill many of us take for granted or fail to develop fully. The way we communicate shapes our relationships, influences how others perceive us, and determines the quality of our interactions. But communication isn't just about speaking clearly or getting our message across. It's about understanding others, listening actively, and knowing how to respond in ways that foster connection, trust, and mutual respect. In this book, we'll explore the art of effective communication and how mastering it can unlock opportunities you never thought possible. Whether you're navigating complex conversations with a colleague, strengthening your relationships with family and friends, or learning how to present yourself confidently in any setting, the principles we'll cover will equip you with the tools to communicate with purpose, clarity, and influence. What you'll discover here is not just theoretical knowledge, but practical, actionable advice you can start applying right away. You'll learn how to handle difficult conversations without escalating conflict, how to listen in a way that makes people feel valued, and how to speak with confidence without coming across as arrogant. The goal is simple: to help you understand the impact of your words and actions and give you the strategies to use them to create better outcomes in every interaction. By the time you finish this book, you'll have a deeper understanding of how to communicate effectively with anyone, in any situation. This isn't just about improving your speech or perfecting your body language. It's about mastering a skill that will open doors, strengthen your relationships, and ultimately drive your success. The principles you'll learn will give you a competitive edge in the workplace, enhance your personal life, and lead to stronger, more meaningful connections with those around you. Communication is the key to achieving lasting success, and the journey to mastering it starts here. Every conversation is an opportunity, and by unlocking the secrets of effective communication, you'll be well on your way to building a life of connection, growth, and achievement. Chapter 1. Changing how you think about communication. When you think about communication, what comes to mind? Most people probably think about having conversations, making small talk, or exchanging information. But the truth is, communication is much more than just talking. It's the way we connect with the world around us, the way we form relationships, the way we solve problems, and even the way we shape our lives. How you communicate directly impacts the relationships you build, the career you develop, and the quality of your life. Yet, so many of us go through life thinking communication is just about sending messages back and forth. We speak to be heard, we listen to respond, but rarely do we stop and think about the deeper purpose behind it all. Changing how you think about communication can be the key to transforming not just your conversations, but your entire approach to connecting with others. Think about it for a second. Every time you communicate with someone, you're creating a moment that could strengthen or weaken your relationship. Whether it's with a friend, a family member, a colleague, or even a stranger, your words, actions, and the way you carry yourself all have an impact. Communication isn't just about exchanging information, it's about creating bonds, understanding others, and expressing yourself clearly. When you start looking at communication this way, everything changes. You stop seeing communication as something you do and start seeing it as a tool that builds something. You begin to understand that your words, tone, body language, and even your silence are powerful tools for creating connection, trust, and understanding. When you speak with intention, every conversation becomes an opportunity for deeper connection and growth. Consider how many times you've had a conversation where you walked away thinking, "I didn't really connect with that person," or "I didn't get my point across clearly," or maybe you've had times when someone else's words made you feel dismissed, misunderstood, or disconnected. We all have these experiences, but often we don't take the time to figure out why. What went wrong? And more importantly, how can we prevent it from happening again? Changing how you think about communication is the first step in becoming more effective in your conversations. It's about realizing that communication is not a one-way street. It's not just about getting your own point across. It's about creating a space where both sides feel heard, understood, and respected. Effective communication is a partnership between two or more people, and it requires active involvement, awareness, and care from everyone involved. In every conversation, the goal should not just be to talk, but to connect. Think about the people you enjoy talking to the most. They aren't necessarily the ones who talk the most or dominate the conversation. In fact, the best communicators are often the ones who listen the most. They know that communication isn't just about sharing your own thoughts. It's about understanding others and building a relationship of trust and respect. When you begin to shift your mindset to this new way of thinking about communication, you'll start to see conversations in a different light. Instead of focusing on what you need to say, you'll start focusing on how you can connect with the other person. What do they need to hear from you? What's the best way to make sure your words are clear and kind? How can you truly understand their perspective and make them feel heard? This shift in thinking doesn't just make your conversations more enjoyable, it also makes them more effective. You'll find that people are more willing to engage with you, more willing to listen, and more willing to open up. They'll feel respected and valued in a way that encourages them to reciprocate the same level of care and understanding. The first step in changing how you communicate is to ask yourself one important question: what do I want to achieve with this conversation? If your goal is to simply be heard, you'll likely only focus on making sure you say everything you need to say. But if your goal is to connect with the other person, you'll start thinking about how to create a back-and-forth exchange where both parties are engaged and the conversation flows naturally. Once you start to look at communication through this lens, you'll realize that every conversation has the potential to be more than just a simple exchange of words. It can be an opportunity to strengthen a relationship, to build trust, or to solve a problem together. And in doing so, you'll be able to make the most out of every conversation, whether it's with a friend, a colleague, or someone you just met. Think about the last time you had a meaningful conversation with someone. It wasn't just about getting through a list of things you needed to discuss. It was about connecting. Maybe you laughed together, shared an experience, or worked through a challenge as a team. That's the power of communication done right. Now imagine how many more of those moments you could create if you approached every conversation with this new mindset. You would have better relationships with the people you care about, more success at work, and greater influence over time. Your conversations would no longer feel like a chore or a task, but an opportunity to connect on a deeper level. But here's the catch. Changing how you think about communication is not an overnight process. It takes time, patience, and practice. You can't expect to go from thinking of communication as just talking to seeing it as a powerful tool for connection without putting in the effort. But that's okay, because once you start making this shift, you'll notice the difference almost immediately. As you move forward, start paying attention to how you communicate. Are you really listening when others speak, or are you just waiting for your turn to talk? Are you being intentional about the words you choose, or are you just saying whatever comes to mind? Are you focused on connecting with the other person, or are you more concerned about getting your point across? By becoming more mindful of how you communicate, you can begin to practice being a better communicator, not just in the big moments, but in the everyday conversations that shape your relationships and your life. You'll find that the more you practice, the easier it gets. And before long, you'll have developed a new approach to communication that sets you up for success in every area of your life. Changing the way you think about communication isn't just about learning a new skill or technique. It's about adopting a mindset that transforms how you engage with others. It's about realizing that every conversation has the potential to be meaningful and impactful if you approach it with care, awareness, and a desire to truly connect. When you begin to communicate with this intention, you'll see how much more rewarding and successful your interactions will be. Ultimately, the way you think about communication affects everything. If you see it as an opportunity to connect, listen, and build trust, you'll find that your relationships improve, your career thrives, and your life becomes richer and more fulfilling. So, as you move forward, start to shift your mindset. Begin to see communication as the powerful tool it truly is. And with time, you'll become a more effective, empathetic, and confident communicator.